Okay, so let's look at the story on page 111. So I am going to, well, first I'm going to zoom in. So let me zoom in. Okay, and then I'm going to play the audio for the story. Okay, here we go.
Page 111, Exercise 3A.
Monica calls Samantha with bad news. While Monica and Todd were out, someone broke into their home and stole their TV, DVD player, jewelry, and some cash. Monica is upset because the robber took her mother's ring. She says the person got in through a window in the back bedroom. Samantha is worried. She says they never used to have so much crime in their neighborhood. She tells Monica that last week someone robbed their neighbor Mr. Purdy, too. Samantha thinks they should start a neighborhood watch program. Monica agrees, but first she needs to clean up the mess in her house. Samantha offers to come over and help.
Okay, so I want to ask one more question. So if you look here at this sentence, it says, she tells Monica that last week someone robbed their neighbor Mr. Purdy too. Okay, so let me ask you, what was Mr. Purdy doing? What was Mr. Purdy doing? If I add a little bit more detail, I can say, what was Mr. Purdy doing when someone robbed him? Okay, or as I mentioned, we can use the phrase get robbed. So I can ask, what was Mr. Purdy doing when he got robbed? What was Mr. Purdy doing when he got robbed? Okay, so go ahead and answer that question. Okay, so if you remember from the listening, Mr. Purdy was out taking a walk. Mr. Purdy was out taking a walk. Okay, so he was taking a walk. Now, as you can see, I used past continuous tense, which is what we are going to learn in lesson B. So go ahead and turn to page 112. Actually, before you turn to the next page, let's do a worksheet. Okay, so if you look at this worksheet, you'll see a story. Actually, it looks like it's a flyer. So this flyer is titled, Join the Neighborhood Watch. So it's kind of like an advertisement too. And it's asking for people to join the Neighborhood Watch program. Take some time to complete the text in this flyer using the words and phrases in the box. So go ahead and pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's take a look at this together. Okay, so you can follow along as I read it. Okay, dear neighbors, are you worried about crime in our neighborhood? Join our neighborhood watch and help make our neighborhood safer. Here are stories from some of our neighbors. Okay, so the first point says, some people, and we should say, broke into our garage while we were on vacation last summer and got in our car. Okay, you can also say got into our car. It's the same thing. Okay, and then the next point, someone robbed my grocery store and took all the cash from the safe. Okay, and the next, robbers got in through the bathroom window. They stole our computer, TV, and DVD player. And then the last one, someone wrote graffiti on the front of my house and threw trash into the garden. Now I have to clean up the mess. Okay, and then the conclusion, we all know that our neighborhood is getting more dangerous. Help us to reduce crime. Join the Neighborhood Watch. Call 555-6726 to find out more. Okay, and let me make a quick comment about the word robbed. Some of you might have used this word here and used broke into here, and that's okay, but usually when we say robbed, as I mentioned in part 1, I said that we use robbed or rob with a person or a place. So that's why it's better to use my grocery store. And I know that our garage is also a place, but it's not the same as a grocery store. You can usually take a lot of things or steal things from a grocery store. And yes, you can steal things from a garage, but you don't usually keep very valuable things in your garage. Of course, you keep your car there, so that makes sense. It's very valuable, but usually cars are not stolen from a garage. They are stolen from a parking lot or usually a parking lot, not normally from your garage. So it's okay to say robbed our garage, but it's more common to say robbed my grocery store or robbed our home or robbed my car, because you can steal things from inside of the car, like a radio or your wallet or purse or laptop. And actually, that happened to my husband last year. Someone robbed his car and stole a laptop from his car. It wasn't a good idea to leave the laptop in the car, but he thought his garage was closed, but it was actually open, so someone robbed his car. And then here too, they stole our computer, TV and DVD player. When we use steal, we are talking about things, like they stole things, like a computer, DVD, and I keep saying that, TV and DVD player. So we don't say they robbed our computer, TV, and DVD player because it's not a place. We use rob with a place and steal with objects or items. Okay, so I hope that helped if you were confused. Now we're going to do one more activity, and this time we are going to make questions. So as you can see here, what did robbers steal from the garage? Okay, so we have to add the helping verb. What did robbers steal? And then we have to add a preposition and an article. So it depends on the question, but make sure that we include the extra words necessary. Okay, and of course you can see the answer that helps you make the question. So they stole a car. Okay, so go ahead and complete numbers 2 through 5, and you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so for number 2, we can see the answer is someone took all the cash. So we can ask, what did someone take from the grocery store? Okay, what did someone take from the grocery store? Okay, and then number 3, the answer is they got in through the bathroom window. So we can ask, how did the robbers get in one home? Okay, so how did the robbers get in one home? Okay, so you have to use in, or as I mentioned, you can use get into, but if you look at the answer, it says they got in through the bathroom window. Okay, and then number 4, they're worried about crime in their neighborhood. So we can ask, what are the neighbors worried about? Okay, so you can see here, they're worried about crime in their neighborhood. So we have to include about. And also in this sentence, it is present tense, so we have to say what are, okay? And it's also a be verb. So what are the neighbors worried about? And then finally, number 5, they should join the neighborhood watch. So this is a big hint, should. So you should ask, what should the neighbors do? Okay, what should the neighbors do? So I added the article the, and even here we used the. Okay, and then here too, how did the robbers get in one home? So actually, all of these questions are referring to this story. So that's why we use the, because it's referring to a story that we already know. Now in this case, there's no the because it's the first question that introduces the story. Okay. So we are done with this worksheet. We're not going to do exercise C, but let's go back to our book, okay? And we are going to move on to lesson B. Lesson B, past continuous tense. Okay, and this is lesson B, and we're going to focus on questions and answers with past continuous. So just like I asked, I said, what was Mr. Purdy doing? Now if you look quickly at these questions here, you can see that I use the same structure. What was Mr. Purdy doing? Okay, and the answer was he was out taking a walk, or you can just say he was taking a walk. He was taking a walk. So we use the past continuous to talk about actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. And the actions were not completed at that time. So Mr. Purdy was walking, or he was taking a walk when he got robbed. So he didn't finish taking a walk. He was walking. He was in the process of walking. So the action was continuous. That's why we call it past continuous. So let's go ahead and watch the lesson. Okay, hold on, let me go to the file. Okay, there we go.
Unit 9, Lesson B, Past Continuous. Questions and answers. Watch and listen. Past continuous. Statements. Use the past continuous to talk about actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. The actions were not completed at that time.
She was eating lunch at 12 o'clock.
They were visiting friends yesterday afternoon.
Past continuous, answering questions with what. To make past continuous statements, use this order. Subject plus was or were plus the base form of the verb plus ing.
He was doing homework last night.
They were playing a game after dinner.
He was cutting the grass yesterday afternoon.
They were watching TV at 6 o'clock.
I was cleaning my apartment at 11 o'clock yesterday morning.
Check your understanding. Look at the picture. Then complete the statement.
He was cutting the grass yesterday afternoon.
They were watching TV at 6 o'clock.
I was cleaning my apartment at 11 o'clock yesterday morning.
Watch and listen. Past continuous questions with what. Use what and the past continuous to ask about actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. The actions were not completed at that time.
What was she doing at 12 o'clock?
She was eating lunch.
Past continuous. Questions with what? Form questions with what in this way. What plus was or were plus subject plus doing.
What were they doing at 10 o'clock?
They were playing golf.
What was he doing yesterday afternoon?
He was cutting the grass.
What were they doing at 6 o'clock?
They were watching TV.
What were you doing at 11 o'clock?
I was cleaning my apartment.
Check your understanding. Look at the photo. Complete the question with the past continuous of do. Then complete the answer.
What was he doing yesterday afternoon?
He was cutting the grass.
What were they doing at 6 o'clock?
They were watching TV.
What were you doing at 11 o'clock?
I was cleaning my apartment.
Watch and listen. Past continuous, yes-no questions. Use the past continuous to ask about actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. The actions were not completed at that time.
Were you doing laundry at 4 o'clock?
Yes, I was.
Was Carmen exercising at 6 o'clock?
No, she wasn't.
Past continuous, yes-no questions. To make the past continuous of yes-no questions, use this order: was or were plus the subject plus the base form of the verb plus ing.
Were they sitting outside at 7:30?
No, they weren't.
Was he cutting the grass last night?
No, he wasn't.
Were they watching TV at 6 o'clock?
Yes, they were.
Were you cleaning your apartment at 11 o'clock yesterday morning?
Yes, I was.
Check your understanding. Look at the picture and read the answer. Then complete the question.
Was he cutting the grass last night?
No, he wasn't.
Were they watching TV at 6 o'clock?
Yes, they were.
Were you cleaning your apartment at 11 o'clock yesterday morning?
Yes, I was.
Let's review. Use the past continuous to talk about actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. The actions were not completed at that time.
What was Beth doing yesterday morning?
She was cleaning her house.
What were the neighbors doing at 10 o'clock?
They were watching TV.
What were you doing Friday night?
I was doing my homework.
Was Maria visiting a neighbor last night?
Yes, she was. No, she wasn't.
Were they watching a movie at 8:30?
Yes, they were. No, they weren't.
Were you working overtime on the weekend?
Yes, I was. No, I wasn't.
Okay, so let's go back to our book. Oops, okay. Yeah, so if you notice this picture, there is a policeman and he is asking the question, what were you doing at 8:30 last night? So this is a past continuous question using this structure. As you can see, these are information questions. So what were you doing at 8:30 last night? And so if you look at the sentences, you can see what each of these people were doing. So Roberto and Maya, Miyang, Ciro, Magda and Luis, Ilian and Francine, Susanna, Claudia, Layla and Mark, Daniel, Mary and Sari. So this policeman is asking each of these people this question because something probably happened at 8:30 last night. Maybe a robbery took place. So we're going to learn this later, but we often use past continuous together with past tense. So for example, as I mentioned, maybe a robbery took place. So that's past tense. A robbery took place. So if we add that to this question, we might say, what were you doing at 8:30 last night when the robbery took place? Okay, so as you can see, what were you doing? This is past continuous, and the robbery took place is past tense. So we'll talk more about that in our next lesson, but I want you to go ahead and complete these sentences using the past continuous tense. So when you are finished, or you can pause the video and then you can continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's take a look at the answers.
Page 112, Exercise 2A. What were you doing at 8:30 last night? 1,
We were watching a movie at the Rialto Theater.
2,
I was studying English at home last night.
3,
I was driving to work.
4,
We were eating dinner at Kate's Kitchen Restaurant.
5,
We were attending a neighborhood watch meeting.
6,
I was babysitting my grandchildren at my daughter's house.
7,
I was baking a cake for my daughter's birthday party.
8,
We were painting the kitchen.
9,
I was visiting my friend and playing video games.
10.
We were working late at our hair salon.
Okay, so go ahead and go to part 3 of this lesson, and we will move on to the next page, part 3.